on GT Channel with Sam Itani, James McKeon, and Taro Koki.
Well, from getting on that subject to kind of the same subject, is a couple of cars I'm going to be reviewing or just talking about here is something maybe in about 25 years, Sean, you could bring over here, because these cars are not not available in the U.S.
Okay.
The first one, I want to go Europe, which is a little departure from the Japanese version. And there's plenty of cars in Europe that aren't marketed in the U.S., which I would love to see here. But I think one of the top on my list is, believe it or not, a French car. I'm not really into French cars, not big. But this one is Alpine, made by Renault. You can see it's this yellow one here. This is a 2020 model. What's cool about it, it is mid-engine, rear-wheel drive. And the last year's version doesn't look very different from this version, but I kind of love the classic European styling of this. I mean, you don't see too many Japanese cars or even American cars that look like this. And it's really efficient. It's got a little inline-4 engine, 1.8 liter. And it makes 288 horsepower. So it's almost 300 horsepower out of that little 1.8 four-banger.
So it's a Nissan engine.
That's right. Exactly. It's part of the Alliance. That's absolutely right. So it is part Japanese. So, and it's got 236 pound-feet of torque. It sprints from 0 to 62, or 61, 100 kilometers in 4.5 seconds, which is pretty dang quick for a little four-banger car. 155 miles an hour, and it's not cheap. It's about 66,000 euros, so it's 75,000 bucks in US usually. So, and if there was to be a a rival to that here, and let me show you the interior. The interior is really classy too. I'm gonna disappear here for a while.
Whoa, high tech.
High tech, huh? Beautiful. So that's the interior. I don't know what do you got there, Sean? It looks like a foot pedal.
Pedal.
Yeah,
accelerator
it is.
Pedal.
Is
it's
that
a R34 accelerator pedal.
Oh, okay. I don't know if that pedals. It's a nice pedal. I don't have pedal shots, but this Alpine is a very, 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 very nice car. And if anything, I think this would probably, at that price range, probably go up against go up against the Toyota Supra. I'm glad Sean is here too now, so I'd like to get everyone's take on the Alpine. Yes, it is a French car, which I think the only thing going against it is it's a French car. But
what's the weight? The curb weight? Did you say, Sam?
A curb weight's pretty low. I don't have it right here in front of me, but I'm sure it's right around 3,000 pounds. So
it's got to be with that kind of horsepower and that kind of 0 to 60. It's going to be not that much more than that. It can't be.
Yeah, it's going to be right. It's lightweight. It's not a large car.
I think it's around 2,500 pounds. I think, Sam, what it comes at.
Nice.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. So it's much lighter. So and it's a mid-engine, which is really cool. You don't see mid-engines.
Sam, what Sean could help you with though is the Alpine A610, which would have been around in the early 90s if you wanted to get one of those in, which is a lovely French mid-engine sports car again.
Is that so, Sean? Is that have you looked at like some of these French cars or?
I mean, I look at everything.
The Renault is the Nissan Alliance, like you said.
Right. I mean, I like cars. I'm into anything. It just like you have to be able to sell it, and there has to be a market for it. So like a car like this, brand new at 60,000 euros, selling. Let's just say that the older car was, let's say it's $40,000 or $50,000 or something. I mean, selling that car used here in the U.S. with no support is difficult.
If someone came up to you and said, well, not this car, let's say a 25-year-old one like James just referred to, and just wanted that one car, he wanted to buy that one car. Is that possible for you to do something like that?
Absolutely. It's just, it's just, the problem is that when you get into some of those cars and those things is that, it pays to know a little bit about the cars in the market, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's
Absolutely.
always going to be like, I mean, I usually tell people, like, if they're looking for a car for sale or something, like, you know, like I used to tell them, if you go to like one of the websites and you look at the high car and you look at the low car and you look at the middle car, right? Because there's always going to be one car that's like 10 grand, one that's 70 grand, but most of the cars sell for in $20,000 to $25,000 range. You really don't want the $10,000 car. The $70,000 car, if you can afford it and that's what fits your needs, then buy that. It's the same with any of these older 25-year-old cars, is that there's always going to be this cheap car, and the cheap car is probably much more hassle than it's worth.
I agree with you. You get what you pay for, right? There's a reason why.
Right, and so then
$10,000.
how much? Then the question is always, you know, to me, on somebody is, what's your budget? What do you want to spend? You know, and if it's, well, I want to spend the cheapest amount possible. I mean, I'm happy to get you the car, but I don't want to hear from you again. You know, like that's it. I mean, you know, I'll get you the cheapest.
Dude, you sold me a piece of junk, right?
No, I didn't sell it for you. I bought it for you.
Right.
You see, that's the difference. So the thing is that, you know, when you're dealing with any of these kinds of things, you know, and especially a car that has little to no support. I mean, how much English service information is there on this car?
Probably not much. You're going to have a specialized mechanic to get the parts and everything. So yeah, and I would think that would be you guys. No?
Well, yeah, I mean, it can be, but I mean, I don't. You know, if we want to talk about GTR, you know, R32 GTR,
yeah, you guys are all set up for that.
Like, I'm good with that. Like some of this other stuff, you know, I mean, it starts to get, you know, I think you start to get muddled, you know, and you get muddy in your.
We're talking 25 years down the road. These are new cars I'm doing, so I'm just kind of giving you a little preview of what people might come to. So
anyway,
you
on this car, if it was half the price, it would be great.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. But
half the price.
Okay,
it would be great.
The next car, which is a little cheaper and which I think is one of my favorite cars ever since the Honda Beat, is this little thing. It's actually a kei-car. It's called the Honda S660, and you know, you historians, you know, enthusiasts know that you know, Honda used to have a small convertible back in, I think, the 60s, the S600, S660, and you know, that which is the predecessor, kind of spiritually, to the S2000. So, and this is also mid-engine for, you know, I mean, there's not too many mid-engine kei-cars, which is the, you know, the small Japanese cars with 660cc engines around, but they made this thing very, very, very sporty, just like the Honda Beat. This, as I said, comes with a 660cc engine, and I'm sure Sean is very, very, very familiar with kei-cars, because I'm sure you've brought a few of those in. I think I saw Nissan Figaro in your
not a kei-car
shop. Yeah. So this thing.
Figaro isn't a kei-car. No. Figaro has a
Figaro has a 1-liter engine.
1-liter turbo. Yeah.
That's right. I'm sorry, but it looks like a kei-car, so damn small.
It's small. Yeah. It kind of in between.
That's right. That one had the 1-liter engine. But didn't you have a Cappuccino or something?
They have Beats and Cappuccinos there.
Yeah. I think I saw Beat in a
Cappuccino. AZ1.
Yeah. AZ1, the Mazda. Yeah. It's weird. So this thing has 63 horsepower, so it's pretty nominal. A little 3-cylinder, 3-banger turbocharged version, and it sits behind the cockpit. You could get it with a 6-speed manual, a proper manual, or a CVT with paddle shifters. The suspension's pretty sporty. It's got struts front and rear, so it's all independent suspension. 0 to 60, guys. Let's see. Taro, give me your best guess at what this thing 0 to 60 is.
Oh, man. I don't know. It's got to be pretty slow, right? I mean,
well, you know, it ain't gonna be quick with 63 horsepower, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
A pat on the back. Oh no, we're social distancing. A wave to the person who gets the closest without going over. How's that?
Oh man.
Taro first.
Maybe a spoon sticker will make it go a little bit faster.
Taro, 0 to 60. Hurry up. What is it?
11.
Sean.
10.
James.
9.
Oh, James, you're too optimistic. It's actually 11 and a half. So
Yeah.
here's your way.
There we go.
11 and a half, quarter mile in 18 seconds. But
Oh man.
top speed, it'll hit 100 miles per hour.
There you go.
Well,
That's
there
I
you
what
don't
we
go.
need.
believe that.
Okay.
Probably with the roof down or with the top.
I don't believe that.
No, it does. It does. It's only 160 kilometers, so I think it'll do it. So in
Okay.
Japan, okay. So now we'll reverse it. Now, James, what is the price on this? Let's see. Let's go with the base. You could tell me base or the Modulo X, which is the high-end version of this car. Let's go with the high-end version. How much is the high-end version? Yeah,
22.
22. Okay. Sean.
2.5 million yen.
So that's about 25.
Yeah, you know.
It's about 100.
1.5 million yen?
I'm doing.
Oh
I'm
wait,
doing
did you say
Japanese
1.5 or 2.5?
2.5.
Yeah, 2.5.
Okay. Yeah.
Taro.
And James, what did you say?
22.
22. I'll go lower then. I'll go and we're talking about the high spec.
Yeah, the
one.
Modulo X.
Yeah, I'll do 2 million then. 20K.
Okay.
20K.
So I'm gonna go here. Now the base starts at 19,000. So the
Okay.
Modulo X, 28 grand, guys.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You win.
Yeah, it's expensive. So it is exclusive. Oh, and I have a rear shot of this to just show you how really nice it looks. See you guys. There it is.
Yeah,
Bye.
it's a cute little car.
It is cute. I don't like the color, but you know the engine is back there. You know, you
I
can
like the color. I'm down with that color.
you would be, James.
The
Me
color's
and you would.
fine. The color's fine for that car. It's because that's what that is.
Actually, you know what, Sean? I think I agree with you. For that car, it is fine.
For
But
that
Yeah.
car, it's
would
fine.
you buy
So,
it? Would you buy it in this color?
No.
No,
I don't-
James, you would buy it in this color.
I would definitely buy it in this color. Definitely.
Okay.
So we have cappuccinos and beats,
hmm
and so you know, the old ones, obviously 25-year-old cars. The cappuccino is so much better of a car than the beat. It's not even funny.
Really?
Oh,
I
really?
drove them both. I loved them both, actually.
No, I did
Wait, but Cappuccino's front
front
engine,
engine
wasn't it?
turbo.
Yeah, front engine. Yeah, turbo rear drive.
So the thing is that
It
like
looks great too.
I mean they're both really, really small. So out in Vegas, you know, the rent JDM thing I'm helping out with out
Yeah,
there.
that's awesome. You could
We-
drive
we-
those cars.
We bought a bunch of them out there, but we have both. We have cappuccinos, we have beats, we have all that stuff. And everybody that I know that's driven them, like the cappuccino, it just because it's turbo, it just is so much faster. It just is, and it's kind of fun and funny. Like, you know, one of them we have like a blow off valve, and it's just like,
Well, Sean, this S660
you know,
is turbo
right.
too.
What's that?
This S660 is turbo also.
Yeah, the older beats aren't.
Yeah, they
Older
weren't.
beats
Okay.
Our older beats are normally
I love those
aspirated,
older beats.
and
The
they have
yellow ones that look like a
they
little,
have the
you know,
they have like
miniature NSX.
MiVec or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
that's,
just-
That's Mitsubishi.
that's the Mitsubishi, right?
The Honda has a really weird VTEC name. It's
I thought it was
something like that.
VTEC.
No, it's not called VTEC on the Beat engine. It's some other weird name. But it makes a lot of noise. It doesn't go anywhere.
Well, it's a kei-car. It's got 60-something horsepower.
A Cappuccino, if you're driving it on the freeway 60 miles an hour and you stand into the throttle, it will pull up to 90 miles an hour. But
Well, that's
90 miles
probably
an
because
hour.
you took all the cats out and you put a
No,
bigger turbo
no.
in.
No. This is a California certified car.
Okay.
And
all
it's
right.
like, but at 90, it's no mas. So
Okay.
and like I said, I don't know if I want to go 100 in one of those. So,
Okay.
but,
Well,
How do
Sean,
they
you
how
might.
do they compare against the Mazda, the AZ1, Sean? The two of them.
yeah. So I mean, the thing about the AZ1 is that same engine as the Cappuccino.
Mm-hmm.
Engines in the back. You got a big glass house and all that stuff. To me, like always, a thought is the price. I can get a Cappuccino for like half the price of an AZ1.
Oh,
Okay.
Really?
Oh,
And
interesting.
so,
Wait,
the
Sean, how much is that? How much for
10,
someone to buy a
10,
cappuccino? How much
11.
would it cost them here? About
10, 11.
10, 11,000 bucks. That's it. Huh?
Yeah, we have one right now. I mean, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more.
Well,
You know, if it's a
I
really
saw Mazda. I saw AZ1 in your Cypress shop. I think I did.
before, we don't have one right now, but
Oh, okay.
you know, and those are 18, 19, 20 for ones that aren't that great.
Wow,
Okay. Wow.
that's good.
And how
they're-
much does it cost extra to get them certified in California?
California on one of those cars, the lab charges us
$4,000.
4,000, yeah.
Ooh.
Okay.
So, but so I mean you know, again, you know, I like the AZ ones are cool. I mean, because of the doors, but also a little problematic because of those things.
Okay, of course.
And so, you know, the AC is not that great.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah,
and they got a big glass house, and it's like there's a lot of, to me, like the mid-engine side of it is cool, but the Cappuccino is such a little, you know. So the Cappuccino, the roof comes off. It's a T-top, and then the rear section, you know, where the roll bar is, basically roll bar section, where the rear glass is, folds into the back. It becomes like a complete open top car.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they weigh 1,500 pounds. So I weighed one on our scale, 1,500 pounds, and the same, they're whatever, 63 horsepower. It is every single piece of 63 horsepower. Every single piece.
You know what?
Is
You know
like-
what, Sean? You know what, Sean? One of the cars that I would love to see, and it's a Suzuki, is that Jimny. The Jimny would be really, really cool out here. You know?
The new ones, right?
Huh?
The
The
new
ones. The new ones.
Yeah.
The new ones are like, they look like little Jeeps. They're awesome. But anyways,
How
I'm getting off track
Pajero
here.
Mini, Pajero
again?
Mini, Pajero Mini,
The Jero
what-
Mini?
Pajero Mini,
Not the
kei-car.
Pajero.
Oh, Pajero Mini. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pajero Mini. Yeah.
We got
So
some out in
Mitsubishi.
Vegas. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, you do? Oh, yeah.
Well, anyways, speaking of Japanese cars again, I'm staying on the Japanese car thing. You know, a few months ago, I don't know if you know this, Sean, but James and Taro do, because we reported it more than a few months ago, that we were talking about a Mazda's upscale premium coupe that they're working on, rear-wheel drive with a pretty new robust engine in there. And gosh, everyone was talking about it on the social media a couple weeks ago. So I think we were the first to break that here. And we are finding out that Subaru, the next Subaru WRX STI, there it is. And they're planning to come out with a new one. And, you know, the Impreza name has been dropped for a while now. And it will no longer be powered by the EJ engine, you know, the flat four turbocharged flat four engine that's always been in the Japan model one. And instead, we hear that it will come with a turbocharged version of the FA24, which is already in some of Subaru's crossovers. Now, this new flat four engine is going to be thoroughly reworked for the STI. And where they're going to redo the pistons. They said the crankshaft turbo boost is going to be turned up, and they said it is going to come out with 400 horsepower and 360 pound-feet of torque, which is like 100 horsepower more than the current WRX STI, which is pretty impressive at 300 horsepower. But you could probably expect the price to go up too, but that's about all we know about this car. We don't know the price, but we know it's going to come in with the new FA engine. They have an FA20 and FA24. This will be the FA24 engine. And we will see this car.
How do you get your head off the screen? I want to see the car.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here's the engine.
That's good. I like the engine.
Yeah, that's the FA. I can't see right now where am I. Hold on, let me get back to the car. Oh, okay, here, I'll move over.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, so sorry about that. So that's the next Subaru STI. So they are upping their game. And this is good to see because, you know, Mitsubishi and, you know, remember when they had the Evo and the WRX, they were kind of racing each other. And, you know, competition breeds good success.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the STI really hasn't had competition for a while, but yet they're still bringing it. You know, they're bringing the car's still out there. They're, you know, it's still selling well. It's one of their, you know, icons, and they're improving it. So while everyone else is going towards electric and all that, you know, they're keeping with the turbocharged engine, gasoline engine, and we hear that 400 horsepower engine may be going into the Toyota 86 because of, you know, the collaboration between Toyota and Subaru with the 86.
That would be a weird place.
What would be a weird place?
Because if you had a 400 horsepower 86 and the Supra makes 355 or 386 or whatever now, so
That would be a weird place, but that would be a nice weird place. Yeah, who knows? They might take the turbocharger out of it, and it'll still be about 250 to 280 horsepower. I could see them doing that, because if they put the turbocharger in there, like you said, it'll start bumping into the Supra, and the price will go way up too. So
right.
So anyways, that's what we
aftermarket
hear.
turbo.
Say again?
Aftermarket
Yep.
turbo.
Aftermarket. Hey,
Aftermarket
James,
turbo.
you are being a Brit, where the WRC is very popular. You've had some, fantastic drivers driving the WRC. Richard Burns, one of them, a British person. R.I.P. to him. Are you a Subaru guy?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Colin McRae, obviously being another
Colin
Subaru
McRae,
guy,
another R.I.P.
and Richard Burns. I mean, yeah, so some great drivers that have come through there. And then there was obviously back in the day when I would really watch the WRC religiously, is when we had the famous battles between Ford,
Right.
Toyota, and then obviously Subaru and Mitsubishi, the big years there, when they'd have the
Those were
Evo
the
versus, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's really good. And then obviously Subaru had the British drivers in there with McRae and Burns, and gave us our first world rally champion, which was obviously Colin McRae. And then Richard Burns came up from behind there as protege, so to speak. So, I mean, yeah, it's good to see those cars and the history behind it, the WRC especially.
Now that you mentioned those drivers back in the heyday, Tommy Mäkinen, and there's just a Carlos Sainz. I mean, it was a nice time to be a WRC fan, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you had like Juha Kankkunen, Didier Aureo, Marcus Gronholm. I mean, lots of great drivers, lots of exceptionally gifted drivers there.
Fantastic. Yeah, and they were the funnest races to watch, because you never know when they were going to go off. I mean, they were almost never going straight. They were sliding almost all the time. So
yeah,
awesome.
I mean, it's still that with the WRC now. I mean, it's still the best racing, I will say that, and the fastest racing you can see when you're watching it. They're so quick.
Just not popular in the U.S.
Say again?
Never popular in the U.S.
Just not very popular.
It's too bad. I know. I don't know.
I love stage rally.
We Americans, we don't know what's good for us. So
yeah. It's
anyways, James, what words of wisdoms do you have to share with us this month?
Oh well, I guess the first one, but the big news that dropped